sweetly ironic.
But, again, the whole thing is that he knowingly allowed this guy to drive to work. The guy lives in Quincy. He knew before the guy left for work, I don't know what time he knew, but he knew most likely before the guy left for work, that his license had been suspended. You know how we found out?
Well, our suspicion is that the officer had a kind of a bad breakup with his ex-girlfriend, and she might have been aware of it and made a phone call. That's just unconfirmed.
That'll be a very interesting question for Chief Crowley on the stand, how he actually became aware.
Yeah. He'll have to tell you that, right, if the question's that.
Sure.
Well, I would imagine. He'd have
Sure.
to say, how did you find out? You just, yeah.
Sure.
So, I mean, he knowingly let the guy drive the car. He let him drive in. Can you charge him for anything on that?
You know, I'm obviously not an attorney, but the way I read the law is this officer's personal car isn't under the chief's control.
Oh, okay.
So it wouldn't be, but a police cruiser most certainly is.
Right, oh, sure.
And like I said, because he had to get cute, he had to go the extra mile to stick it to the cop. It blew up in his face. And now he's facing jail time while he's charging the officer is maximum $1,000 fine. So.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And he allowed the guy to drive in. He allowed this poor sergeant to set this guy up. Well, he set them up, but he allowed the sergeant. But at least the sergeant had enough heart to stop him in the station, you know, while he was driving in the station.
Because what happened was is the chief called the sergeant in and said, you know, this officer has an expired license. I want you to wait until after roll call, watch him get in the cruiser and pull out either onto C Street or Southern Artery, and then pull him over and arrest him. And like Peter said, the sergeant has a lot of integrity. He saw the officer get behind the wheel, start it, and move it a few feet, and he probably said to himself, I can't do this. And he said, hey, you know, stop, we got to go and see the chief. And once again, this whole case is full of irony, because what Crowley charged the officer with, unlicensed operation, the operation has to be in a public way. Where this incident happened is a spot that's clearly marked police vehicles only. It's no more the right-of-way than my living room couch is. For what I charge Crowley with, it does not have to be in a public way. It can be anywhere. Just the fact of turning the key and moving it, that's operation. Like I said, it happened, he did it.
Knowingly did it.
Yes.
Knowingly did it. And he's going to be going to court. You don't know when you're going to be going to court.
No, he said it got transferred to Brockton, and I'm sure that, well, I hope that I'm notified.
The wheels of justice move slow.
But we're watching it, our attorneys are watching it, and we know the Herald's watching it.
You say the Herald is going to do some more on this?
Yeah, the reporter that did that story actually asked if she could be in the for the hearing, and as far as I know, they're open to the public.
Sure, yeah, I go to them.
Yeah.
For God's
So
sake.
she's going to be there, so if they're going to pull anything cute, they better be very careful.
Yeah, because has the Globe done anything?
I don't
I
believe
looked,
so.
I did a search on the internet and nothing.
Yeah, well, yeah, I doubt if the Globe will either. I was surprised of. But again, as you know, on the show all the time, I call the Ledger the Moscow Times. It's so true because, you know, they're making you in the police offices
We have a theory on that editorial that was, someone wrote that. We don't know if it was actually, it was so personal against Bruce.
right.
You have to wonder who actually penned that editorial, especially the end. It is very personal.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you know, if this case goes forward and they do issue probable cause against the chief, my sole quote to the Ledger is going to be, who's wearing the dunce cap now?
Yeah. So, again, how many police, because I want the people to know, how many police out there are actually have lawsuits going on?
There's Tim Kays, there's Siobhan O'Connor, where I just attended her deposition the other day.
Is that the one?
The female officer?
That was only on for a short time?
Yes.
Is she going to get back on?
I believe so, yeah. I'm very confident that she will. And unless the city settles, that she's going to get a big payday herself. Because the Quincy Police Department has an abominable record of treating its female employees.
She got in a motor vehicle accident, a minor scuff bumper, nothing motor vehicle accident. She was fired, like,
It was
2 days.
It was mistaken identity. The state trooper said a silver SUV passed him doing over 100 miles an hour. Her car is blue, and her car is a Kia. It can't do 100 miles an hour.
Unbelievable.
It's mistaken identity. Yeah.
And did the state trooper admit to it?
Well, she was found not guilty in court. I don't think he ever admitted it was mistaken identity, but That's what we think it is, mistaken identity. But she was fired like that.
2 days, right? It was
Yeah.
2 days. Fired in 2 days.
How many police officers have settled and nobody's lost a case, right?
No.
No, there's been, John McDonough was the most recent, Nancy Coletta, Kathy Bandera, who wasn't an officer, but she was an department employee, Sue Perch. It's 4 right
Four.
there, yeah.
So,
And there's 2 pending.
2 and possibly another one coming.
so every time those go to court, they have to pay lawyers.
Oh, sure.
They're not, are they, the city isn't already paying these lawyers.
Oh, no, they use David Grunenbaum, who's not a city employee. He's like a subcontractor, so he's billed by the hour.
Billed by the hour.
And we want to know, when this does go, if this does go to trial, when the complaint is issued against Chief Crowley, who is going to pay for his legal defense? I hope it's going to be Robert Crowley, and not the city of Quincy.
Well, Crowley should be paying for some of that, shouldn't he?
He should be paying
Pay
for all of it. Because
Pay for
Officer
all of it.
Kays, we had to pay, the union, we had to pay his defense. And, you know, as far as I know, I'm not 100% certain, he's not a member of the Superior Officers Association, so who's going to pay for that? It shouldn't be the taxpayers.
All right, I got some more questions I'd like to ask you, but the time runs out, and I wanted to, I asked some of the questions a couple of times because I wanted the people to understand,
Yep.
get an understanding instead of just,
Oh, we'll be glad to come back anytime.
oh, yeah, I'm gonna have you back, yeah. Give me a call whenever you wanna come
Sure.
in, but I mean, yeah, I'd like to have you back. But I wanna thank you for coming in. And just quickly, if you think there isn't a problem here in Quincy now, folks, I don't know what it's gonna take to make you understand that there is a problem. I mean, here's a chief of police, definitely out of control. You heard it tonight, you know, that, I think you've all read it in the papers, whether it was the Herald, the Moscow Times, or whatever, that he broke the law, and the same people that he punishes for breaking the law, when he breaks the law, nothing is done, and the mayor has done nothing about it. And you want to know what really, really ticks me off, Bruce, and I waited to say this to the end. You know what really ticks me off is not one of them city councilors have said anything.
No, really.
Except for Dan Raimondi, I'll leave him out of this.
Absolutely.
Not one of them, including you, Leo Kelly, not one of them have said anything. Not one of them have said, I think it's time, Mayor, or I think it's time for an investigation. They go to those city council meetings, and they meet in the back rooms, and they do their dealing and everything else. Not one of them come out in defense of this kid. Not one of them. And that's a shame. That's a terrible shame, an awful shame.
It is.
It's sickening to allow this guy, and just to allow this kid to go through what he's going through. And for this man to do what he's been doing, embarrassing the city throughout the newspapers and the media and everything else, getting worse all the time, and that city council has said not one doggone word, not one, and it's sickening. And they ought to be ashamed of themselves. Because when you went there that night, and you stood up and you defended your guys, there was quite a few, there was I can think of three councilors that had a lot to say to you.
Sure did.
That tried to say you were the problem.
Yep.
Well, I think this verifies the fact of who is the problem, okay? And as you said here tonight, he got up there and he lied about the cruisers, knowingly there wasn't 13 out there, when he said there was, and conveniently saying that, you know, well, I misspoke and I didn't know this, that, and the other thing. He knows what's going on.
Sure he does.
He knows what's going on.
Yep.
And I just hope the mayor does the right thing, but you want to know something? I don't have any faith in him.
No, we don't.
I don't have any
this
faith
point.
in him.
No,
Not at all. No, he's just hoping this thing goes away.
The ostrich approach.
it's not
Exactly.
going, we're not going to let it go away. It's not going away.
Well, thanks for watching the show tonight, and hope you learned something. I know I learned a few things tonight, and thanks guys for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you
Come
for
back
having us.
again, and hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you. She's got.